This is just an actually great movie.
Yeah, no, it's the cleanest of the Sonic movies
Mm.
because it's actually a movie. It's like it's fully formed. The characters you kind of already know, they've been established, and there's like high stakes. There's big set pieces. Like they travel outside of Green Hills and outside of America. Spoilers, goes to London, and the London sets and goes to Japan. The set pieces are actually really good. Um, it's like it's as you said, Kev. Like in another universe, there's no way this ever happens because they released the first one and it becomes everyone clowns on it for decades.
Mm.
This is a incredibly successful movie in that sense. Like some people say Mario broke the Super movie curse, or the video game movie curse. This has done that. Like I think this is a much better movie than, and look, I'm no bias towards Sega, but I think this is better than the Mario movie. It's better than a lot
I
of other
think
video games
that's a
movies
good
I've seen.
point because, like, the Mario movie, in order for it to be successful, it had to turn into an Illuminations movie. And, like,
Yes.
I like the Mario movie just fine, but
Oh,
like,
I liked it too. Yeah, I liked it too.
It's
Donkey Kong doesn't sound like that. Mario doesn't talk. Like, Princess Luigi is the Princess Peach. Like, sensible concessions, but concessions nonetheless. You can
Mm.
tell it's
it's
trying to make it
extremely
like,
digestible.
What's that, Kev?
Like no, the Mario movie, it was made to be extremely digestible.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But you're saying this is very faithful to the Sonic lore, such as it is.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like there is a lot of backstory, and
yeah,
especially because while Sonic may not have his own like backstory, Shadow does,
yeah.
and Shadow has like in the wrong hands, Shadow's backstory could be completely edgy and cringe, but they handle it delicately. They do actually give because it's basically the death of his sister is what causes them to want to blow up the world.
Yeah,
This is Maria, the one who's always dressed like
Yeah,
Alice in
the little
Wonderland, the
girl. Yeah,
flashbacks and all that. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. Like they actually put that with like a fair amount of like weight and gravitas. I think my only complaint is in making Jim Carrey Gerald Robotnik as well as Ivo,
Mm.
they kind of made him a comedy character as well.
Yeah.
And it works. For the movie that they're doing, it does work. But Gerald in the games was always a far more stoic and like cold scientist.
But see, I think they hit that balance quite well, though, Kev. I agree
No,
with you.
they did a great job with it.
And the it serves the twist at the end where
Mm.
they're like, "Wait, you're gonna blow up the whole world?" You
Complete
know,
nihilism. Yeah.
it's like there is that like where like with Jim Carrey's Ivo, he's in there for the laughs, as well. Then other than just killing it because he doesn't really want to kill anybody or kill everybody,
No, he
but
wants to rule everyone.
just rule everyone. Yeah.
Can't rule a wasteland.
Exactly, and it's just like that's a really cool third act surprise that is nobody really saw coming because you're like, okay, look, we've seen this before. They're gonna team up and get beaten by Shadow and Sonic, and the fact that it's like actually no, he dies a hero is really good. It's a really cool twist that I think was set up by
Is
the
this a
fact that yeah
spoiler
that
warning thing, by the way?
oh
We put that up top.
we put that up top.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
Uh,
But I will say as well that Keanu Reeves does a great job. Like the casting of Keanu
Well,
Reeves.
that's what I was going to ask about because
Mm,
we talked about this on the show back when Knuckles, we were talking about that.
mm.
And I expressed hesitation that even though Keanu Reeves is awesome, I haven't seen him do much like just voice acting. So how did that translate to Shadow?
he has his chops, like mostly from Cyberpunk. But the
Yeah,
thing with Cyberpunk is that like he's also face mocapped. Like he
Yeah.
looks like Keanu in that.
yeah,
The best compliment I can give to Keanu in this is that anytime Shadow was talking and like talking extensively, I wasn't thinking that was Keanu Reeves.
I
yeah,
see what
He
you so
like
it's so
he
it is a bit
actually
like the Idris Elba. It is a voice and
yeah.
I
not
think
just them
even
doing
more
their
so than Idris
eyes.
Elba because like at least kind of because Idris Elba's really kind of hamming it up, and you're
Mhm.
kind of aware it is him, but it's also Knuckles. In this, you just forget it's Keanu, and
Yeah.
Well,
that's
that is
just
high
Shadow.
praise. Yeah.
Like that's what's great about it. Like it's the intensity of Keanu that he's able to do.
Mm.
But yeah, halfway through the movie, you completely forget it is him, and you're like, no, that's
Mm.
just Shadow. That's what Shadow sounds
Yeah.
like. You're like, fair play. It's really really good. Like I
Because it's a
wasn't.
hard voice to do, isn't it? Like I was rewatching Sonic Boom and Shadow turns up, and immediately my ear went, "That's not the Shadow from the 2005 game or whatever it is." Like it's an easy voice to impersonate, but it's a hard one to do convincingly
I
and put
think
Well, no,
emotion behind. You
it's
know?
an easy voice to parody because
Yeah,
like
that's it.
yes,
Yeah,
if you
exactly, yeah.
give it just that little too much gas, it's I'm the edgiest man on the
that's
planet.
it. Yeah.
But like if you actually kind of like if you pull it back a little bit, give it that bit more gravitas and actually take it seriously, like don't make a mockery of it. And that's exactly what Keanu does.
Yeah, and Kev, you beat me right to it. I was going to say that you touched on it earlier on. Um, but yeah, it's like it's so easy to mess up Shadow, so easy,
Yeah.
and all it takes is a lesser actor or somebody who isn't taking it seriously. And I think that's the difference with these kind of movies. If you go in, well, any kind of like kids movie or even this, we had this problem with comic book movies. I think video game movies now have figured out that hey, we can actually make a lot more money if we just take it seriously.
Mm.
And this is the problem that comic books had for years, and now with video game, if you're ashamed of being in a video game movie,
Mm.
it's gonna suck. It's gonna be real bad. And
Well, that's the big difference I thought between Sonic's 1 and 2, because I feel like, now obviously I like that movie just fine, but Sonic 1, it feels like all the Sonic elements are very, very stripped back.
they're
And like
safe.
even
They're
like
safe.
Robotnik's or Eggman's costume
Yeah.
is sort of like, okay, you could wear that down the street. Compare
But you
that
know
to
what?
like the Sonic and the Eggman in Sonic 2, which is the proper bald mustache. Now you've got Knuckles. Like that
Keen,
felt like, okay, we're embracing this now, so they've
what
gone
I'd
further with this one then.
what I'd say with that is the way to look at this is it's very like with the MCU. First MCU
Mm.
movies, Iron Man, relatively safe, really good movie. A lot of the things are toned down to an extent. Then by the time you get the Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's been, it's made a bunch of money, you can bring in your talking raccoon.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
that kind of happened with
And
this.
yeah, and like I think
Excuse me.
because there was a clear delineation again, the kind of the evolution of these three movies. If you remember Kean in like Sonic 2, and part of the reason I think that movie does end up working because of its limitations of COVID, the whole James Marsden side plot was so segmented from that movie, you
Mm,
kind of forget it happened altogether.
yeah,
Yeah.
This one they've kind of cut that down even more, where him and his wife are in it for like 20 minutes max. And even then, they've been incorporated now into the plot, into
yeah.
actually being relevant.
They're not like interrupting the action like.
No, they're
Not terrible, yeah.
they're directly
Okay.
involved at certain points, but they
Okay.
also do something really cool where the problem that Sonic video games had when you went 3D is weren't able to interact with people. It was like you have your Sonic stuff and then you have them interacting with people, and it's to mixed results, to put it very, very mildly.
I just got a flashback to the Shadow the Hedgehog game. I only had Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, so they're my reference points. Of like the human like president
Yeah, no, that's
gets
what
With
I'm
the
talking
picture
about.
of
stressed.
Shadow and
His little
Sonic on the
photo
thing.
of Sonic and Shadow on his desk.
That's
Like,
not even no. Anytime I like somebody talking about Sonic interacting with people, it's always I can never not think of Sonic kissing a human woman.
Oh,
That's
that's
still
so
the
the funniest
one, the
thing on the
PlayStation
planet.
one.
in
Yeah,
in Sonic '06, yeah, like
Yeah,
I think I may have
yeah.
got the year wrong on Shadow the Hedgehog in that case. That was a PlayStation 2 one.
so.
But
Look, the point I was making before we lose it is this actually nails the interaction with people, right? Where you you have your alien hedgehogs fighting each other, but also being taken seriously.
Be yeah,
Taken
being
seriously
being
taken seriously with these world-ending events where it's like Shadow, you kind of forget he's a hedgehog, if that makes sense. Whereas like no, he's
yeah,
actually a super powerful being that just happens to be a hedgehog, rather than oh look, he looks like evil Sonic. And then because that's the way
yeah.
they play it, you kind of just accept them as characters, which is a huge achievement because again, this could have went real bad as well.
Mm.
Yeah, you really do have to hand it up to the filmmakers because they went in. These were not easy movies to adapt because, like, if you play it too serious, it becomes cringy. If you don't play it serious enough, it becomes parody. It's really well done.
they
Well,
really
speaking
really
of
strike that balance.
filmmaking, just purely coincidentally, I saw Ben Schwartz as the Sonic voice, isn't he?
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah,
like he was on the Game Grumps playing the Back to the Future or something like that. and he was basically saying that to get his Sonic lines right,